A few hours after President Muhammadu Buhari called the Super Eagles, charging them to defeat their opponent ended up defeating them in a match that was dominated by the Nigerian team. The Super Eagles had qualified as the only team with a maximum of 9 points from the group stage, beating all teams in Group D. However, the Eagles could not make it beyond the round of 16. Both teams went into the first half break without any goal until Youssef Msakni delivered the single killer goal that sent the Super Eagles out of the competition few minutes into the second half. Alex Iwobi was also shown the red card at the 66th minute, depleting the Eagles as Tunisia cruised into the quarterfinal of the tournament. Well, what are the lessons that the Super Eagles, the Nigerian football authorities and the technical team must learn from this tournament? What should be the way forward? On this episode of Nigeria Today, our guests will be providing answers to some of these questions as they speak on Nigeria's outing at Afcon 2021. I'm Lydia Ochi. Thank you for joining us. With me in the studio is a sports analyst, Jacob Oyekale. Glad to have you on the program.
Thanks for having me.
And joining us via Zoom is an international sports commentator. He is Calvin Onwuka. Thank you for finding time to join us.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we also have joining us via Zoom from Abeokuta, a retired football legend, Segun Odegbami. Thank you for joining us. All right, thank you. Now let me begin with Jacob. How will you appraise the Super Eagles' general performance from day one to when they crashed out?
Well, generally speaking, we all know that the interim coach was appointed on the eve of the tournament, and nobody really gave him a chance, especially playing against an Egyptian team that boasts of the reigning African Footballer of the Year, Mohamed Salah, the Egyptian team that have 7 Afcon trophy on their shoulders. Meeting them in the first match, Nigeria was able to triumph against the Egyptian, and that inflated the hopes of Nigeria. Winning the second match again against Sudan before we defeated our third opponent. That gave Nigeria high hopes. And meeting another eagle in the Carthage Eagle of Tunisia, we felt that we are meeting a depleted team, a team that has been ravaged with COVID, a team that the coach was also out. So we felt that we have chances against them, having won our last 3 matches, being the only team that have been successful with that 100%. Unfortunately, meeting Tunisia, and I warned seriously, when you meet any North African teams, they have these antics against the way they play. And more so, the team came with a script that Nigeria never really planned for. On match day, I think the technical superiority of the Carthage Eagle really was made manifest on match day. They outwit us technically. And again, in our team, when we saw that one tactics was not working, that is attacking from the wings, and from the beginning we've been attacking with just a wing because the other wing was not functional. The wing that was functioning was Moses Simon, and the Carthage Eagle had a script planned against him. So he was made, he was a marked man. Again, Kelechi Iheanacho was made anonymous, and by that they caged our team. We could not really do anything. Unfortunately, we had no plan B. Even if it's to switch Moses Simon to the other wing and see maybe the pressure will ease on him, I think that was one of the major problems. Okay. I wouldn't want to pick any scapegoat, but another problem I saw with that team was that there are no real leaders in every department of the team. Nobody tend to take responsibility, okay, especially when we had a numerical disadvantage. Nobody took responsibility. I felt that after playing 2 matches, you would naturally appraise the 11 players. Who are those that performed above average and who are those that failed to fly? Okay. Chukwueze, for one, did not really fly very well. And in the 3rd match that he tried out some player, Semi Ajayi brought in some additional option for him. He is able to hold the ball, he carries the ball, he can pass on the ground, and again, aerially, he has this presence which could have really been a threat for the opponent going forward, because most of the set piece we have, the Tunisians weighed it off with effortless ease. So we had no second option, because I believe with the height of Semi Ajayi and with the way he does, he played in the Premier League 2 seasons ago, and now he's playing in the Championship, and he got a couple of goals with his head. So that should have been, I felt the coach should have taken advantage of that. Let
me come in here. Segun, the Super Eagles seemed to have dominated the match from the beginning. So what happened in your opinion, and at what point? Okay, I don't know if Calvin can answer that question. If you heard me well, please go ahead.
I find it difficult to find a way to blame Augusto de Govon and the Super Eagles in this defeat. By that I mean the Tunisians set out from day one, from minute 1, to ensure that Nigeria does not penetrate, and that was why they defended deeply all the time. Now, what could we have done? We easily could have drawn that game, and we could have easily have equalized and gone on to win. What made matters difficult for us was Alex Iwobi's unfortunate red card. There are some matches where, frankly, you find it really difficult to blame the coach, because things happened that were completely out of his control. The goal that the Tunisians scored, the guy just took aim, and unfortunately for us, the goalkeeper could have done better. He didn't do that, and the ball went in. From that moment onwards, we were going to have an MPFL kind of match where the Tunisians were going to do everything to frustrate Nigeria during the match. Fortunately for them, and unfortunately for Nigeria, Alex Iwobi got a red card, which reduced our effectiveness. Could Eguavon have done anything better? In my view, the only thing I believe he did wrong was allowing Kelechi Iheanacho and Samuel Chukwueze to start the second half. But even then, nobody would have thought that 3 minutes into that second half, we would have gone a goal down. So, what are we going to do? We're going to go back to the proverbial drawing board, as we always do in Nigeria. But I don't think this is the time to throw the bathwater and the baby away.
Now, Segun, I want to hear your own response at this point. Okay, we don't have Segun yet. It seems we have lost connection. So let me come back to Jacob. Would you say there were some technical issues that came up, or was it sheer luck for Tunisia?
Well, Tunisia, just as I've earlier said, they came with a script. They tend to have watched Nigerian matches, and unfortunately the coach had the same starting 11 from his first 2 matches, that he felt that was his own strongest 11, and he played into the hands of the Tunisians in the decisive match. And see, I must say here that the mentality in preliminary matches is different from knockout stages, because the moment you lose in the knockout stages, you are going out. Preliminary stages, you still have the chance to make up for your error. So I think the mentality was not there. That's okay, we are in the knockout stages. And that was why I talked about players taking extra responsibility. You saw the Gabonese, even to the last kick of the game, they fought with the last pint of their blood. And the presence I was talking about, Semi Ajayi, was what their captain came with when they had a set piece and he was able to not home the ball. You see that aggression. Even when we had a numerical disadvantage, we still had, some control of the game. But the only thing is that leadership in the team was not really there.
Like you said earlier, now I think we've established a connection with Shegun. Please, we really want to hear what you have to say about this. In your opinion, what were some of the key things that should have been done differently?
Well, thank you. My feeling immediately is that it is very easy for us to sit back now, look back at the things that have happened, and start to postulate as if football is a science, that if you did this or did that, this would happen. That is not the situation. In the first instance, I think we overestimated. Our expectations were too high, based on where we were coming from. By the time the Nations Cup came, and considering the circumstances in which the team was, very few people gave us a chance. And, we some of us were clamoring for the Nigerian to take up the team, because for 6 years, that team had been unproductive, as far as some of us were concerned. And at the last minute, they brought in an interim coach. And the guy did very well. In the first 3 games, he lifted our spirit, he lifted our expectations, and we did not look critically at the quality of team that we had. We were happy with the results. The team was not playing brilliantly through the first 3 matches, and we forgot that we were playing a Tunisia. Anytime Nigeria plays against Tunisia, it has always been a very, very difficult match for us. We've never found them easy. This is a well-organized team. COVID-19 or no COVID-19, anytime you play them. It's like Ghana. Ghana lost to Comoros. Put Nigeria and Ghana together to play now, and you will see a totally different team. So as far as I'm concerned, our expectations were too high, and the reality dawned on us when we met Tunisia, and we were unfortunate that one shot from outside the box beat our goalkeeper, something that should have been stopped. Our man was removed. We are playing 10 against 11, which made it extremely difficult. And of course, our boys struggled. That was not a difficult match for us to play. It was not as if the Tunisians were pressurizing us or looked even better, although they were more organized. But just as Calvin said, if we didn't lose Immobile, I believe it would have been a different story. We would have equalized at least. Unfortunately, that team does not have a good goal scorer. That team had a lot of players in different positions who could do some things. But in front of goal, you needed somebody who has something special, somebody who can finish. You don't find that easily in any team, people who can score goals. Nigeria does not have it. We had a few chances even against Tunisia, but we didn't score because we just don't have that quality of finishing. We thought Iheanacho would be it, but he was marked out. Simon Moses is not it. He's a great player, a lot of smoke, but at the end, the fire wasn't as much as the smoke. And he was just marked out. So strategically, with 10 people, it was almost a mission impossible. So as far as I'm concerned, that team did very well, considering where we were coming from. And they lost, unfortunately, due to some ill luck here and there. And so we should not just condemn what we have because of that defeat. It is painful, but they did well, as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you. Very painful indeed. Well, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll talk some more. Don't go away.
This is NTA News 24 broadcasting from Abuja. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the following platforms.
Start Times Channel 101, Brick TV Channel 703, GSTV Channel 419, and Go TV Channel 46.
For more information, log on to our website www.nta.ng or join us on our social media handles, Facebook at NTA News 24.
For comments, suggestions and inquiries, send an email to news24@nta.gov.ng or call us on the following numbers.
NTA News 24,
news and more news.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we were just discussing or are still discussing Nigeria's outing at Afcon 2021, and our guests are still here with us. Now let me go back to Calvin. At a point, it looked as if the Nigerian team was caged. Would you have preferred some major changes, and how would you sincerely describe the performance of the Tunisian team compared to the Super Eagles?
My feeling about the match is cast in stone. The Tunisians were very lucky. Nothing can change my mind on that. I've watched football long enough, and my first football heartbreak involved the Tunisians when Chief Shangodegwami's 1977-78 team lost out to Tunisia en route to 1978 World Cup. So I would say that, but they had never beaten Nigeria. They had never beaten Nigeria at Afcon, at any Afcon. Chief Shangodegwami scored the only goal when we played them at Afcon 78. So going into this game, I felt that we were in with a chance. We could beat them. But that goal and Alex Iwobi's sending off changed the whole complexion of the game. I didn't mind. As soon as the goal went in, I looked at the time. Only 47 minutes played. Yeah, there's plenty of time for us to equalize. Alex Iwobi came on, Peter Olaika came on, and we had a lot of verve, a lot of movement, something we were not having before these two players came on. And I thought, yeah, well, an equalizer is possible here. But within 5 minutes, they got that sending off. I don't know if I've answered the question, but I felt that, yes, we had a chance. Do you know what? If somebody had been dropped in from another planet midway into that second half, they wouldn't have known that Nigeria was a man light, the way the Tunisians were playing and falling on the ground and trying to waste time. We still had possession, we still created chances, and as Big Sheikh said, we had some chances that Sadiq Umar could have scored. Moses Simon had an effort which the goalkeeper blocked. So we were still in the game, which is why I was absolutely confident that had that game, had we had 11 aside and we had numerical parity, we would have drawn and gone on to win the game. But listen, that's football. They took a shot, it swerved, went in, and they held on to it. And that's where they're the ones into the quarterfinals, and the players, the ones coming back home, are coming back later this evening.
Jacob, what is your opinion now about the performance of the midfielders? Because we've not really talked about the midfielders. And what would you have done differently if you were the head coach?
Well, I think the midfielders, honestly, they are, if not that we have crashed out, by the end of this tournament, they should have passed to be two of the best midfielders in the tournament, because looking at the match they played against Egypt, they contributed to make Mohamed Salah a passenger in that match. And the combination of Aribo and Ndidi, both playing in the UK, Ndidi, one of the best defensive midfielder you can have around, while Aribo, presently the best player in Rangers, and invariably, if he's the best in Rangers and the Rangers are leading the Scottish League, you can say he's the best player in the Scottish League. And he has, you know, he might not be the regular number 10 we hope for, flair, skills, but he has a way of getting the job done. But coming to Nigeria, just as his colleague in Rangers, that was Balogun, said that he played more advanced in Rangers, while in Nigeria he played a bit deeper. So maybe if he had had a more advanced way of playing, maybe the impact could have been different. But even at that, he had some runs here and there that he used to influence the game. But what the only thing that is still missing with both of them is, remember the days of Sunday Olise and Austin Okocha. They have a way of, if the strikers are not scoring, they have a way of playing shots. When they try passes and the passes are not going through, they create space for themselves and strike, just what the Tunisians did. They will strike they will try, there is this precision. Indeed, they have scored a couple of goals from way outside the box, both when he was in Belgium and in England. So they could have done that differently, and the coach too could have tweaked the team a bit when he saw the way the Tunisians are really playing. So he could have tweaked his own team too.
Okay, let me go back to Shegun now. What would be some of your suggestions on the way forward as we look forward to future outings?
Well, the worst thing we can do now is to panic and to condemn, because what we have is the product of a previous failure, and we are rebuilding. Don't forget that the coach who handled this team going to Afcon did not have one player that he selected himself. He met an assembly of players and he had to work with them. That was the situation. And I can't say that the team played brilliantly. They didn't play brilliantly, but they played effectively. We saw athletes who did so well. And many of them, of course, deserve to be in that team with a little bit of tinkering here and there. Plenty of psychology into that team. That team is going to get better and better. Some fresh legs need to be put in, some need to be dropped, but that's the job of whoever takes over as coach. I don't think it is for us to panic at all. As a matter of fact, I am thinking deep down that if we had gone far in Afcon, possibly if we had won it, in that mood of celebrating Afcon, we could have lost a great chance that we would now have against Ghana. We could have taken things for granted. Oh, we have arrived. And Ghana are going to be very, very difficult and very, very dangerous when we play them. So we need this.
Big Shag, I will take the Afcon. I will take the Afcon.
I will take the World Cup. I will take the World Cup. Because remember, we won Afcon. We won Afcon in 1980. And we were to meet the same team in 1981. The same team. And we just thinking that, we are going to knock these people out. And they stopped us from going to the bigger competition. Look, Ghana is going to pose a big challenge. Ghana that Comoros beat, they're going to pose a big challenge because these are two big teams. So I think that the spirit in which the Nigerian team would be meeting Ghana, the anger with which we are going to play them, the determination to rescue our names, all of those things will add up. And then we have time for whoever is going to take up that team to build his own team and get us those missing ingredients so that in facing Ghana, they are going to face Ghana with all the forces we can unleash, and we are going to defeat them, and we are going to go to the World Cup.
I like that. Now, Calvin, what will be your closing thoughts on this topic tonight?
I agree with Big Shag with regards to us not having to panic, with us not having to decide to do away with anybody or any of the players. I hope that because there is no friendly, there's no other FIFA window before the game against Ghana. My take is let's have Eguavon, let's have Cherezo handle this same team because he's had more time now with them. So let's have him with the players to prosecute this Ghana match because it's absolutely vital that we have continuity going to this game. We cannot go out in the round of 16 at the Afcon and then also miss out on the World Cup. That would be an absolute tragedy. So that's for me. Keep everybody going and let's carry on.
Thank you all so much, and that's it tonight on this episode of Nigeria Today. We want to thank you, our guests, the international sports commentator Calvin Onwuka. We appreciate your insight, and our retired football legend Segun Odegbami. It's a pleasure always talking to you. Thank you so much. And Jacob Oyekale, we thank you for all your time and your expert opinions.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we also thank our viewers for always keeping a date with us. Don't forget, you can watch this and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Thank you for watching. I'm Lydia Ochi. Good evening.